First of all, Lorelai has the nicest kid balcony. That balcony is through her childhood.
That's the childhood bedroom balcony?
Yeah. So she used to go through that balcony and out the window and shimmy down and go
Okay.
out for the night.
So
And he said, "Oh, Chris meets her in the balcony. She's crying, and he says, this is the place where they made Rory. He calls it the
Rory
initial
elimination.
lamination. I had to look this up.
Rory elimination?
Lamination, I think, initial lamination, and it's where something begins. And I might even be saying the word wrong, but I don't know why he used that word. I had to look it up. I know that
So that was so disgusting
yeah,
and gross. And in
he's
my
gross.
head, I was like, no, they're not going to have, they're not going to have sex. They're not going to kiss. I was afraid they would kiss.
And that's
What?
actually when we cut to Luke's diner for a second to see that he's stood up. And that's actually when we cut back to the balcony and they're kissing and
That's what
making
she's
out.
doing. Right. They really, they dig the knife. Oh yeah. They
Yep.
dig that knife. Be like, well, Luke is sitting there all forlorn. She's like
Mhm.
getting railed. Okay.
And I wrote, so back to grandparents, Lorelai and Christopher sex, exclamation point.
I wrote, because I was screaming it at the screen, and
so
I wrote
glad.
down what I was screaming, which was no exclamation mark. And I was like, do not have, but this is the drug, as you said, like you fall back into old patterns. And he smiled at her, and
But think about it. Think about when he smoked, because he's a good drug. He does drug very well because she just got punched
right.
verbally.
She's vulnerable. She's
and
really
emotionally.
vulnerable. Yep.
And that's when she goes for the drug. She's been resisting the drug. But my life doesn't go well when I take the drug. It never works out well. So she doesn't take it. And then she's in this horrible place in her mind. That's where you go, you know what? I'm drinking tonight.
Yeah.
And that's him.
Wow.
And so she took the swig, regretted it right away, as you do when you're not supposed to touch certain drugs. You're just like, I did it again. And he starts apologizing. And she says, Lorelai says, don't apologize. It was both of us. And Chris is thrilled to death because he's the drug that now is going to get, he thinks he's in there.
Yep. He's totally validated. There's a reference to 30 minutes. You should have thought of that 30 minutes ago, implying that they were out there 30 minutes.
Get out of here.
No
Get out
way.
of here with that. There is no way. First of all, it's winter out. So if your butt's out for more than 5 minutes.
You have frozen. Yeah.
You're having a quickie, and I'm talking like 5 minutes at best.
That's like saying like airplane bathroom sex takes a half an hour.
No, nothing takes a half an hour.
It takes 90 seconds.
And even if you don't finish, you're done. You're not.
So she implies they took 30 minutes. I don't even know. I mean, I know when comfortable sex lasts 30 minutes. Just saying. I mean, I'm a grown up. I don't.
I think
places to be.
There was always this depiction of like, look, there are some all-nighters or some, longer, like we have some time.
That's a young man's game.
Like, but you're out with your butt in the winter.
On your parents'
balcony.
You're the sandwich of the parents and the daughter.
Your kid's there.
Your parents are there, and you're going to spend 30 minutes?
No, you're not. You know what? Carrie and I were both yelling at the screen. You had 5 minutes tops.
And I think it like 4 of those minutes were like putting back garments. Yeah, 90 of those seconds were actual.
I'm sorry if you think Carrie and I have bad sex, but like 5 minutes is pretty good on that balcony.
Whatever. So they're like hilariously like putting their clothing back on and like taking, leaves out of their hair and whatever.
Yeah.
If they did take 30 minutes, that's incredibly rude because Rory is sitting there alone with Emily in the kitchen for 30 minutes.
That's what drugs do to you.
Yeah.